based on recommendations made by health professionals. Now, as we restart operations in the midst of this new normal, heading this significant initiative to drive our industry forward is our Minister of Tourism. And we're delighted now to have him join us on stage as he shares with us his message on this special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now welcome Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga.
සියලු දෙනාටම සුබ උදෑසනක්. අපේ ආරාධනාව පිළිගෙන මේ ස්ථානයට පැමිණි දේශීය හා විදේශීය මාධ්‍යවේදීන් සියලු දෙනාම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ඉතාම ගෞරවයෙන් පිළිගන්නවා. සංචාරකයන්ට රට විවෘත කිරීමේ අභියෝගය ජයග්‍රහණය කිරීමට මාධ්‍ය මගින් ලබා දෙන සහයෝගයට සංචාරක ඇමතිවරයා ලෙස මගේ ස්තුතිය මේ අවස්ථාවේදී පුද කරනවා. ඒ වගේම අද රට සංචාරකයන්ට විවෘත කිරීමට අවස්ථාව උදා කරපු කරු ජනාධිපති ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාටත් අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාටත් ඒ වගේම ආර්ථික පුනර්ජීවන කමිටුවේ ගරු සභාපති බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාටත් අපේ ස්තුතිය මේ අවස්ථාවේදී පුද කරනවා. මේක ජාතික යුතුයකමක් හා වගකීමක් හැටියට අපේ අමාත්‍යාංශය හඳුනාගත්තා. ඒ නිසා මාස 10ක් තිස්සේ සංචාරකින්ට වසා දමා තිබූ රට අද නැවත විවෘත කරනවා. අපේ එකම අරමුණ සංචාරකයන් සමාජයටත් සමාජයෙන් සංචාරකයන්ට කොයිත් වසංගතය බෝවීම වළක්වා ලමින් මේ සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරය ප්‍රවර්ධනය කිරීමයි. ඒ සඳහා අපි ගත යුතු සියලු ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගෙන තියෙනවා. ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සුරක්ෂිතයි. සුරක්ෂිත සංචාරක ගමනාන්තයක් සඳහා මේ රට සුන්දර දිවන්ට එන්නයි අපි ලෝකය පුරා සිටින සියලුම සංචාරකයන්ට ආරාධනා කරනවා. කොයිඩ් වසංගතය පැමිණීමට පෙර අපේ රටට ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන් සමාගම් 35ක් පමණ මගී මෙහෙයුම් සිදු කළා. ඒ සියලු ගුවන් සමාගම් අප සමග යලි වාණිජ ගුවන් මෙහෙයුම් ආරම්භ කිරීමට කැමැත්ත පළ කර තියෙනවා. අපි දෛනිකව ගුවන් මෙහෙයුම් 80ක් පමණ සංඛ්‍යාවක් කටුනායක ගුවන් තොටුපළ තුල සිදු කළා. ලෝකයේම ක්‍රියාත්මක නව සාමාන්‍යකරණ වැඩපිළිවෙල යටතේ එවැනි තත්ත්වයකට පැමිණීමට ටික කාලයක් යාවි. නමුත් ක්‍රමක්‍රමයෙන් ඒ සිදුවේවයි අපි අපේක්ෂා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම සංචාරකින්ගේ පැමිණීම මාස 6ක් 7ක් යනකොට යථා තත්ත්වයට පත්වේවයි අපි අපේක්ෂා කරනවා. රජයේ ඉලක්කය COVID-19 වසංගතය රට තුළ පැතිරීමට පෙර තිබූ තත්ත්වයට වඩා සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරය දියුණු කිරීමයි. ඒකට කාලයක් ගත වේවි. නැවත වතාව මේ අභියෝගය ජයග්‍රහණය කිරීම සඳහා සියලු අයගේ සහයෝගය ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. නැවතත් සංචාරකින්ට ආරාධනා කරනවා. දැන් ඔබට මේ රට විවෘතයි. සෞඛ්‍ය මාර්ගෝපදේශක අනුව සුරක්ෂිත ගමනාන්තයක් සඳහා මේ දිවිනෙන්ට එන්නයි අපි ආරාධනා කරනවා. මේ අවස්ථාවේදී විදේශ මාධ්‍ය ආයතන නියෝජනය කරන මාධ්‍යයන් මෙහි පැමිණි සිට නිසා මගේ පැහැදිලි කිරීම ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් කිරීමට මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. I would like to speak a few words in English as there are international media representatives gathered here today. Very warm welcome, thank you to all local and international media and tourism industry shareholders taking part in this occasion. I would like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, Honorable Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Honorable Basil Rajapaksa for taking the initiative and extending their support for reopening the country to tourists. The livelihood of around 3 million people depend on tourism in Sri Lanka. It is our national responsibility to take into consideration all needs of our citizens that depend on this industry. In order to do this, we require the media's support. I would like to make humble request to extend your support to us during these challenging times. Now, as the Minister of Tourism, I would like to announce that we will opening borders to international tourists in accordance with the health guidelines from today, the 21st of January 2021. Our main goal is to prevent the virus from being spread from the community to the international tourists or from the international tourists to the community. Hence, we have taken measures to adapt to tourists in new normal. As our chairperson has already given a sound explanation on the procedures in place, I'm not going to take any more of your time today, as I understand that you all have questions that you have been dying to ask us. I will now conclude my speech by again thanking everyone for joining us. Thank you very much.
What makes the perfect trip to Sri Lanka? We asked some locals for their point of view. Take advantage of the year-round climate and head to the beach. Feel the sun on your face and the sand beneath your feet. Run down to the ocean and let the warm waves wash over you. Relax and watch your troubles float away. If you're a morning person, rise with the sun and explore the city. Next, grab your camera. For a tour of temples built thousands of years ago. Alternatively, head to the wilderness. See mountains, the tea country, or discover the royal fortress for marvels built 50 centuries ago. If you're feeling curious, head deep into the jungle. Explore the mangroves, filled with characters. This island doesn't like to rush. Kick back, enjoy some fine dining, and take time to unwind. When you're feeling renewed, finish your day with friends and family. Relax in the afternoon heat. Or cool off in the pool. So you've met the locals and seen through their eyes. Now come, discover their home. So majestic, so wild. So, Sri Lanka.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you've just seen from that video yourselves, Sri Lanka offers a very unique niche for global travelers, amazing people from across continents with our very exquisite wildlife, our beautiful natural splendor, and not just that, but also with our heritage and culture that has an undeniable charm and allure. Now, today, in opening up our very unique treasure trove of tourist attractions to the world, the Ministry of Tourism has taken on board suggestions put forward by a special Tourism Advisory Committee. It's now time to hear a few thoughts from the chairman of the Tourism Advisory Committee. He's present with us here this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, to address the gathering, please join me in welcoming Mr. Hiran Kure.
Aiboan, ladies and gentlemen. We are down but not out, as they say in cricket. Honorable Minister, Secretary, Chairman, Mrs. Fernando, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. I think I had to start by thanking our Minister. We are blessed to have somebody who understands the pulse of the people. You know, at times like this, when everybody has literally come to zero, I think the Minister understood the need of, as he said, the 3 million people who are dependent on tourism today. It's not an easy task. You know, when he appointed the advisory committee, what he told us was just focus on getting the island opened again. You know, because he knew people were suffering. People are really, you know, people in the tourism industry was going through a tough time. And he just said, just focus on getting the tourism industry open. And I think the Secretary, Chairman, and the DG, and the rest of the team at Sri Lanka Tourism, they worked so hard together with, as Mrs. Fernando said, with the Health Ministry and the COVID committees. In fact, so much so jokingly, I used to ask Mrs. Fernando, do you talk in your sleep also about these protocols and everything? Because she just kept on and on, together with Dhammi, talking of these protocols and how everybody should be responsible. So we have come today after months and months of discussions, and Dr. Herat is here from the Health Ministry, and they too understood the need, while their objective is to prevent the COVID-19 from spreading in the country. That is their objective, and our objective is to also make sure economically tourism people survive during this time. So I think while we thank ourselves here, we also have to thank all of our associates who work in hotels, in the travel agencies, in the guides, the national guides, the chauffeur guides, the people who supply, for their resilience as well. It's not just a few people who are resilient today. For people not giving up on tourism. Actually, our troubles didn't start last year. It started in 2019 with the Easter bombings, right? Tourism virtually came to a standstill. And the significant difference then was, while we were hit, the rest of the world was doing well. So the rest of the world supported us. All the airlines supported us. All the other nations, all the international media supported us. So we were, despite not doing any promotions during that time, still we were able to recover adequately because of the international support we got. But today, it's the other way around. I think Sri Lanka is doing very, very well compared to the rest of the world. If you read some of the newspapers in the UK, in America, and so on, it's a complete mess. Our country has managed this very well. And that, I think, needs to go out into the world, right? Our health, what they have done today, has to be recognized and portrayed to the world. People don't realize what a good health system we have in our country. We have to be proud of that. Sometimes we only pinpoint the negatives of health. But look, there is a health system that works all over the country. And we have to project that image to the rest of the world to give confidence to those who are coming now that we have a health system that will take care of you, not only for COVID, for anything. Our health is as good as any in Asia. I can say that. I have visited many hospitals, during the past couple of years. government run as well as private run, and we must be proud of that. We don't talk about it. I think we should start spreading that news that we are a country with a very, very good health system and an administrative system that works, and we should be proud of that. So we and our hospitality, I think all of you are aware of the hospitality and the resilience of our people. One of the joys that I have is, as you know, the company that I work with, since we have hotels all over the country, every 2 months I travel around the country. And the resilience of our people, however tough it is for them to survive during this time, they did not give up tourism. Imagine we are opening today and we are having people visiting us, and if we didn't have smiling faces, if we didn't have those to greet and welcome them, it is impossible. One of our hotels, we are hosting now the England cricket team, and I keep talking to the general manager. She says, "Sir, my nose is gone." Every other day, you know, through the cricket board, they are testing them, right? Every other day, the entire staff, we have 94 people looking after about 50 Englishmen in that hotel, and every second day, their nose are this thing. So, but our staff are resilient as well. While England, you know, keep playing, we have to service them, feed them, look after them, and they don't give up. They don't give up. Whatever the difficulty it is, one side there is a, like the cricket team having a reserve team, we are also keeping a reserve team in case something happens to the people who are serving. There is another backup team, you know, in-house, completely locked in case something happens to the. So this is not going to be an easy task for us. When, as Mrs. Fernando keeps saying, this is not an easy task at the beginning, because this is going to require a lot of discipline from all of us in the industry. It's not, but this is the task we have to take if we are to go forward, and hopefully with more confidence coming in by April, May, we should be able to relax most of these, you know, guidelines so that more people will start traveling. At the moment, if we look at one of our main markets, the United Kingdom, they say, you know, Maldives, Japan, Greece, and Turkey are their most sought after destinations for the English to book in the summer months. We should be in that list of countries, that the most important markets who will want to book us. And that will happen when we relax some of those restrictions we have. We know it cannot be done now, but we will work towards achieving those targets. And I think if we can contribute in the near future to a $10 billion return to the country, to the country's economy, where we will contribute at least 10% of our GDP, then we have achieved together something substantial. So this is a very special moment for us. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Secretary, the silent Secretary who keeps working hard on behalf of tourism, Mrs. Fernando, the Chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism, DG, and everyone else, Health Ministry, Airlines, Ashok and the rest of the team, Chandana, thank you for supporting us. When we are down, it's our national carrier that helps us most, and the other airlines who are supporting us. So we look forward to working closely with you and bringing more and more people to our country, and you know, not only for a few of us, but for people who benefit from this industry and who love this industry. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hiran Kure, for a very optimistic address representing the interests of everybody in the tourism industry, and I'm sure we all join in his hope for a swift and safe resumption of thriving operations here in the tourism sector. Ladies and gentlemen, in a short while from now, we will open the floor for Q&A. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we have to remember that today, as Sri Lanka opens its shores for international travelers after a prolonged crisis, the success of this significant effort and drive would not have been possible if it weren't for the many stakeholders who've come together to support this cause in ensuring a safe resumption of operations. So we'd now like to take this opportunity to thank each of the valuable stakeholders supporting us, and to sum up all of our appreciation in a vote of thanks, it's my pleasure to welcome on stage the Secretary to the Ministry of Tourism. Please join me in inviting Mr. S. Hettiarachchi.
Hi everyone, good morning. Honorable Minister, our most valuable invited guest, ladies and gentlemen. An event like this is not happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by the team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues of Sri Lanka Tourism who know their job and are result-oriented. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zone. Sri Lanka is open for tourism. It's the result of our collective effort. I want to state that we are all most grateful to all speakers in this stage for gracing your important work and sharing with us your findings for opinions today. We thank you for being with us today. I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Prasanna Ranatunga, Honorable Minister of Tourism, for taking all the responsibilities and for the guidance for make this happen. I also extend my thanks to Ms. Kimali Fernando, live of this program, Chairperson, and Ms. Dhammika, DG Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, and other all staff of the Sri Lanka Tourism, Director General Slitten, and all staff, and their enormous cooperation and effort in the organizing this event today. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Mr. Hiran Kure, Chairman Tourism Advisory Committee, for his valuable thoughts. And I want to thank all other stakeholders, Slitham and Slito and other all stakeholders, they are here today with us. We are grateful to Major General Retired J. Chandrasiri, Chairman ASL, and Mr. Asok Patirage, Chairman Sri Lankan, and DG Sri Lanka Airport Aviation Authority for their continued cooperation in this regard. We are very grateful of frontline Dr. Hemantha, Deputy Director General Minister of Health, for the support extended us for being with us today, and he helped us immensely from the inception of this program. Without him, we are unable to, fulfill these our all health protocols. I want to thank again and Dr. Hemantha as well as all staff and in the Ministry of Health. Especially, I want to, even he is not here today, but especially I want to thank Secretary Health. We are grateful to extend our thanks all today international media and local media for giving an excellent coverage to this important occasion. They are the people who take this message to all over the world. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our heartfelt thanks to the management and staff of the Cinnamon Grant. Within a shorter period, they have provided all facilities for us. And finally, the Sri Lanka Tourism arranged the perfect logistic support and guidance extended to all of us and all gathered here today. finally, the local media, I think they are the local and international media, they will take this message to the international and just inform us the Sri Lanka open for tourism from today. Thank you very much.
As we all move forward, don't forget to get plenty of sunshine. Drink lots of water. Remember to really breathe. Stretch. Spend time with the people you love. Find your balance. Focus on the important things. Rest. Eat healthy. Laugh a lot. Soak it all in. And remember who we are. So strong, so resilient, so Sri Lanka.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, so strong, so resilient, so Sri Lanka. I think that encouraging message sums us all up really well. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for Q&A. And I'm sure we're all awaiting this segment. But before we open up the forum for questions from the audience, we would like to share with our audience members a few guidelines for this segment. As we have the chairs being brought forward, I'd like to inform all of you, ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, we would like to request our audience members to please keep your questions as short and as crisp as possible. No more than 2 lines as your question, please. And since we would like to give as many of you an opportunity to have your queries addressed at this forum, let's keep it to 1 question for 1 person. Of course, please ensure that you have your mask on when the microphone is being handed over to you for you to ask your question. We have 2 microphones that will be available in the hall, so if you do have a query, please raise your hand and we'll make sure you get a microphone your way. On that note, it's now our pleasure to invite a few officials representing the industry to join us on stage so that all of you can feel free to address your queries either to the entire panel or to a specific stakeholder. To join us now in the panel of stakeholders on stage, I warmly welcome Minister of Tourism, Honorable Prasanna Ranatunga. We'd also like to be joined by Mr. S. Hettiarachi, Secretary to the Ministry of Tourism, Retired Major General G.A. Chandrasiri, Chairman, Airport and Aviation Services, Sri Lanka. We'd also like to invite Captain Themia Abe Vikrama, Director General, Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka, Dr. Hemantha Herath, Deputy Director General, Ministry of Health, Mr. Ashok Patirage, Chairman, Sri Lankan Airlines, Mrs. Kimali Fernando, Chairperson, Sri Lanka Tourism, and Mrs. Dhammika Vijayasinghe, Director General, Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. We'd like to invite our officials to now please join us in the panel on stage. Let's put our hands together as we welcome them up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you have your questions that you would like addressed to the panel. Please raise your hand and we'll make sure you get a microphone your way. Keep it crisp, keep it short. Yes, we have a question there. So if you could just stand so everybody could see you on stage, yes.
Shiraji from Daily News, just 2 quick sections. What are the targets for the first 1 month of arrivals? And Mr. Minister, you forgot to mention about Mr. Udayanga Veeratunga. Wasn't he the one who started the ball rolling?
Thank you.
As you said, as we know that we have opened with the pilot project in December, and so far there are about nearly 1,500 passengers per year. It was estimated that 420 million revenue has come to Sri Lanka during that period. There are some shortfalls that we have seen and we have identified. Whatever it is, he has brought some, he has taken the initiatives, and we are very thankful to him. And with that experience, now we have started the second project. It's also like a pilot project because it's open for the commercial flight. And we hope that with the other countries' experience like Maldives, for the last 6 months, though they have opened and they don't have any PCRs taken for the tourists, still for the last 6 months they have 142,000 odd foreigners has visited. So it's not easy task, and with the help from the inbound agents and the travel agents, we trying to get as much as possible. Otherwise, it's no point in opening the borders.
I hope that answers your question. Do we have another question? Can I see your hand up if you have a question?
And the targets for the first 6 months?
No, we have not given any targets because it's impossible, like too early to announce.
All right, we move on. Do we have another? Yes, we have. So if you could just stand and be identified by the panel, yes.
Yeah, I'm Laleen from the Sunday Observer. I just want to know whether you all have cleared your communication gaps, because we saw that in the past with several parties involved in tourism, meaning tourists from other countries, and also there's one voice and one body claiming the ownership of tourism.
Absolutely, as Honourable Minister said, there were communication issues, and I totally agree with you. That has been identified, as I mentioned before, that there is a command center, operation center in our unit, which is a 24-hour setup, 1912. So everything is being coordinated. Actually, we are working with immigration, airport aviation, civil aviation, the Ministry of Health, the COVID task force, the tourist police, etc. So it's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of work. There will be things that go wrong, but we are there. We are on it. We will handle it. So it's what I request though from the industry is that the tourism is conducted by really the private sector actually. The government makes it, we facilitate, we create an environment for you. So from the time the airport, the guest comes out, the transportation has to be coordinated, the hotelier who's having the guest over there has to be coordinated, and even with the travel bubble that you will travel to various sites, that needs to be coordinated. Whom do you need to coordinate with? You need to coordinate with us right throughout, from your booking to your travel itinerary, everything you have to coordinate with us. We will help you with the other line agencies and coordinate with them.
Do we have other questions from the floor? Yes, we see a hand up there. We'll make sure you get a microphone.
Hi, I'm Isfaran from Colombo Gazette. I just want to know, if I may, just two questions. One is, there had been concerns raised earlier by the health authorities in the event these tourists were to step out of the travel bubble, that might become a problem. So I'm just wondering what sort of measures are in place, in the event something like that happens. Are you looking at, legal steps to be taken against tourists if they violate, the guidelines? And are y'all looking at maybe bringing down, arranging chartered flights to bring down tourists from other countries as well during this period? Thanks.
Absolutely. The two airports that are open is Katunayaka Airport and Mattala Airport. It is for scheduled flights, it is for charter flights and for private jets. So both airports are open for all three categories. With regards to the violating the travel bubble question you asked, it's absolutely a good question. This is the responsibility, from the airline's perspective, we are informing them to let the passengers know in advance. Before even the passenger applies, comes to Sri Lanka, and during the visa application process, even during that time we are informing the guests in the immigration. Actually, so from the immigration they are informed, from when they arrive they are informed, on flight they are informed, and then we need to guide them. That is the tour guide, the driver. The tour guide is the eyes and ears on the job and the driver. So they will be there assisting and not violating the rules, and the hotelier will be assisting. So yes, there are laws relevant to this. Of course, if there are violations, even you could lose your license. And I know that the health may be able to answer this, but I mean, there are quarantine regulations, isn't it, doctor? Which you might want to explain if you like.
Yes, basically the Department of Health or Ministry of Health has, as the competent authority, the Director General of Health Services has already issued and gazetted the certain guidelines in relation to the practices and behavior that need to be adhered by the public, and if any of these things are violated, it will be an offence already gazetted under the quarantine law. So therefore, what is required is to inform the guests who are not probably familiar with the situation and make sure that it is not going to happen. And it is the responsibility of the all concerned, all stakeholders, because I don't think that the health ministry or the health workers in the field will not be able to do the policeman's job at that sites and making sure that everything is happening fine. So therefore, I would like to request everybody here and all others who are involved in this process to make sure that it is not happening. And that will be the way forward so that we can go and expand this process so that more and more people will come here and more places will be open for the tourists, and finally the industry will flourish. Thank you.
Do we have further questions from the floor? Please raise your hand. Yes, I see a hand right there. So at the back of the room. Okay, we'll come back to you, sir. We'll go there. Yes.
විදේශ සංචාරකයන්ට මේ රටකට ගියාම මොනවා හරි භාණ්ඩ ගන්න කැමති ඒගොල්ලෝ සමරු භාණ්ඩ ඒ වගේ දේවල් ගන්න කැමැත්තක් දක්වනවා. එතකොට අර බබල් එක ඇතුලේ සමහර විට ස්වීනියස් එහෙම ගන්න ස්ථාන තියනවද දන්නේ නැහැ. අපි සූදානම් කළා. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔබතුමාලා මේ සූදානම් කළා තියනවද යම් නිශ්චිත ඒ සමරු භාණ්ඩ අලවිසල් හරි ඒවා සංචාරකයන්ට ගිහිලා සෞඛ්‍ය ආරක්ෂිතව ඒවා ගන්න සූදානම් කළා තියනවද කියලා දැනගන්න.
අපි මේ වෙනකොට ස්ථාන 16ක් හඳුනාගෙන තියෙනවා මේ එන සංචාරකයන්ට යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ 16 මේ වෙනකොට වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ සඳහන් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ අතර ලක්සලත් එයින් එකක්. එතකොට ඒ හැම ඒ ස්ථාන 16ම ඒ අය සෞඛ්‍ය අංශත් එක්ක හඳුනාගත්ත ක්‍රමවේදයක් අපිව දැනුවත් කරලා තියෙනවා මේ විදියටයි කරන්න ඕනි කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර ස්ථාන සතියකට දවස් 3ක් කරනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් පැය ගාණක් දවසකට අරින් තියෙනවා. ඒ විදිහේ ක්‍රමවේදය හදලා තියෙනවා. ඒක අපේ ඇප් එකේ වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ අපි දැනුවත් කරනවා. ඒ වෙලාවල් වලට විතරයි සංචාරකයන්ට ඒ ස්ථාන වලට යන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද අපි මේ වැඩසටහනේ බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මූලික අධීරයේදී සංචාරකයන්ගෙන් සමාජයෙන් සංචාරකයන්ට මේ රෝගය බෝවෙන එක නවත්වා ගැනීම තමයි පළවෙනි අරමුණ. ඒ සඳහා විතරයි මේ නීති රීති. ඒ වගේම අපි උත්සාහ කරනවා පුළුවන් තරම් සංචාරකයන්ට නිදහසේ ඉන්න දීලා ඒකට සම්බන්ධ වෙන අපේ ස්ටේක් හෝල්ඩර්ස්ට අපි පුළුවන් තරම් ඒ බර්ඩන් එක අරගෙන ඒ අයට අවශ්‍ය විදියට ඒ පාසුකම් සලස්සන්න. ඒ ආකාරයෙන් ඒ ස්ථාන වලටත් යන්න පුළුවන්.
I believe you have a question right there. Yes.
I'm Asanta from Bloomberg. Can you give us an update on the airlines that have confirmed? And also, Mr. Patirage, if you are getting any bookings, what's the situation there? And if there, even though there's no target, what's the kind of realistically, how many can you expect this year tourists?
Can I answer? Yeah. So we as a national carrier, so obviously we are very much ready for it, and obviously we have been campaigning to open up the airport for a long time, and I must also congratulate the Minister of Tourism and the chairperson for having the courage to start with this initiative, because this is something the entire industry has been waiting for. So as I said, Sri Lankan Airlines is completely ready, and also we are looking at even to open up new routes. We are at the moment considering Moscow, maybe Moscow can be a good opportunity for us before the season ends. So our plan at the moment is to start Moscow by 15th of February if everything goes well. So I mean, in terms of you were talking about the numbers, as the Honourable Minister and Chairperson explained, I think this is going to be a gradual process. We are not expecting, large numbers to come, but from Sri Lankan airline perspective, and I also have some information about Emirates, I think at least for the next 2 days, I think we are expecting about 30 foreigners to come into the country. I think that's a great start.
From a civil aviation point of view, there are about 35 airlines which are registered with Sri Lanka as of now. And during the Kuwait time, as of now, presently, or before opening the airports for tourism, there are 8 airlines who had been flying to Sri Lanka. All of them were majorly national carriers from different countries. And subsequent to that, there were about 15 charter operators who operated flights to Sri Lanka, bringing mainly cargo and, of course, sometimes repatriation passengers. In addition to that, we have already got about 5 airlines who has requested, with this word going around that Sri Lanka is going to be open, that they have requested to get their approvals to come to Sri Lanka. And already we have given approvals to 2 airlines. Thank you.
Well, we have space just for maybe 2 quick questions. So, do we have anyone in the audience? Yes, all right.
මම නවෝදයා අද වත්තරේ මට දැනගන්න ඕනේ දැන් ලංකාවෙත් ඉන්න පුළුවන් පිටරටවල් වල සංචාරයට යන්න කැමති අය. එතකොට එහෙම කෙනෙක් වෙනත් රටක සංචාරයකට ගියාට පස්සේ නැවත ඒ කියන්නේ සතියක සංචාරයකින් ලංකාවට ආවොත් එයාලට නිරෝධායනය වෙන්න ඕනද? ඒ කොයි ක්‍රමවේදයේ යටතේද කියන එක.
දැනට අපි ආරම්භ කරලා තියෙන්නේ විදේශ ගුවන් බලපත්‍ර තියෙන සංචාරකයන් සම්බන්ධව පමණයි. හැබැයි අපිට ඒ වගේම වැදගත් වෙනවා මේ රටේ ඉඳන් වෙනත් රටවලට ගියන අයත් ඒ ගිහිගෙන කොටත් ඒ අය සම්බන්ධවත් කරන ක්‍රමවේදය. දැන් අද ඉඳන් ආරම්භ කරයින් පස්සේ අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා සෞඛ්‍ය අංශ සමග සාකච්ඡා කරලා ඒ වැඩපිළිවෙලත් සකස් කරන්න. මොකද අද බොහෝ දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා විදේශ සංචාරය යන්න බලාපොරොත්තුවෙන් ඒ අය සම්බන්ධව කටයුතු කරන්න මේ අවස්ථාව වෙනකොට තීන්දුවක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි මං අයිත් කිව්වා වගේ මේකත් අපි නිල වශයෙන් විවෘත කරාට මේකේ පළවෙනි සති දෙක අපිට අධ්‍යයනය කරන්න වෙනවා. තද ඉතා වැදගත් විදිහට අධ්‍යයනය කරන්න වෙනවා මේක යන්නේ මොන ආකාරයෙන්ද කියලා. ඒ අනුව අපි ඉදිරියට outbound tourist සම්බන්ධවත් කටයුතු කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Yes, I see a hand up there. Okay, we have 2 questions and maybe that's all we'll have time for. So let's start with the lady and then we'll move on to you, sir. All right.
Vinushka from Travel Talk Asia. Just to check on the capacity, the number of arrivals, will there be flexibility in the number per flight, per arrival? Will there be an increase in arrivals and the capacity at the airport for testing, and what would be the cap for arrivals?
Actually, the cap for the arrivals is based on the PCR testing capacity. Tourism is not going to encroach or take the capacity for PCR testing from the returnees, the local citizens who are returning, because that is the first priority for us. So first priority given to Sri Lankans who want to return. So therefore, the PCR testing capacity what we are going to be using is used only from the private sector hospitals. So at the moment, actually, the PCR testing capacity was increased and given to the repatriation flights also from the private sector. And they have allocated 2,500 a day for tourists. Now the question will be asked, how do we monitor that? That will be monitored by civil aviation, by giving with the flights, and they will handle that part. So from a tourism perspective and the hoteliers, travel agents perspective, you don't need to worry about the 2005. That our senior officials will handle that from their side.
I think Kemal is right. The number given is 2,500 for tourists as of now. And that number is, we have instructed the airlines, and we will be instructing the new airlines also who's going to fly here, how they are going to manage those numbers. So, and it's going to be a dynamic way of handling it. We can't just say that For example, we can't say Sri Lankan is going to carry 100 passengers a day and Emirates will carry 100 passengers a day. Like that, you can't divide it. It will be on a dynamic platform, and the total number will be met finally. That's the idea. And we are hoping that number will increase day by day as per the approvals given by health authorities.
And people keep asking about the numbers. So let's just address it in some way to, when it was 2003, you had 2.3 million guests who arrived, right? Then after the Easter Sunday, it was 1.9, 2019. If you just take the 2,500 a day guests coming, you'll arrive at about million guests. So that gives you a rough idea. So that would be 1 million guests. But I don't want to say there will be 1 million guests or 2 million, which would be really much better. But I think that gives you a rough idea of how fast you can go. And you asked with regards to the capacity and the pricing and whatever. We have actually negotiated with all the private sector hospitals who are authorized by the Ministry of Health. There are 5. Those 5 private sector hospitals we have spoken to with the Honourable Minister many times, and we've had several meetings. And we have now negotiated downwards for the benefit of the industry of the price. So several hospitals have bid 7,500 rupees for the PCR test anywhere in the country. So that's kind of useful, a flat rate. So 1 or 2 hospitals have indicated that they want an additional charge per kilometer. But everybody, about 2 of 3 of them have said flat rate 7,500. Now 7,500, when we speak to the travel agents, for example, we had a webinar the other day with about 100 or 200 travel agents from India, and they complained about that price as well. Because in the Sri Lankan converted rate in India, it's only 2,100. So they were asking why it is too high. Because at the moment, the protocol that has been put, there are quite a lot of PCR tests to be done. So I'm afraid it's expensive for a tourist to come, because at the 7,500 roughly about $40, right? So if he has to do 3 PCRs as it is today roughly, so it's $120. Then he has to pay for the $12 insurance, which is $132. Then he has to pay, if he's non-SARC, it's $35. So it's a lot per person if a group of family comes. So this is something that it will be a challenge to get guests in this way, I have to tell you. So but we don't want to ask for any changes at the moment. We'll start it like this. And then when health also is more comfortable and everybody is more comfortable, we would have to look at whether we want to follow the same onerous protocol. There were lots of questions in the webinar with regards to children, because some countries don't require children to do PCR tests. So they had made various regulations below 6 years that it's not necessary. So these are things we have to work in partnership with health, because they are taking the best interests of our citizens. So we will work in partnership and sort of sort that out. But I think it's important to just highlight one thing about the insurance. Actually, the insurance, when you apply for a visa, you are overseas and you apply for a visa, you will indicate the safe and secure hotel that you have a booking with, right? You have to indicate that. Whatever the safe and secure, it's a diverse range of hotels, right? There's boutique hotel, 5-star, 3 stars, 2-star, there is guest houses also. So you can choose whatever, we are not dictating what the hotel is. So you can choose your hotel, you have to pay for the $12 insurance and pay for the COVID test before you come to Sri Lanka. So we don't want to have it as a burden to the government, if not, for tourism to be a burden. It should not be. So when you're applying for the visa, you just need to tell your guests 3 things. Have a hotel booking in a safe and secure hotel. Have you paid for the insurance, which is $12. And number 3 is you paid for the PCR test. Then you apply for your visa with that reference number, and then you will get it. With regards to the insurance, it is done by People's Insurance Corporation, and they are giving a $50,000 insurance for 1 month. It will be hassle-free for a guest when he comes with this insurance, because everything related to if he does get COVID and needs to go to a hospital or to intermediary care center, the insurance will kick in. Transfer of the ambulance, hotel care, hospital care, I beg your pardon, PCR test, whatever the test, intensive care, all that is covered for 1 month. And even the unfortunate if there should be an unfortunate death relating to COVID also is covered by the insurance. So it is a very valuable one. Several questions were asked, why should I get this? Because I have another one. We are insisting at the beginning for sure that the $12 is fully worth it, because when a guest comes to Sri Lanka, they should feel there's no hassle. I don't have to worry about insurance and claiming and all this. I just pay the $12 and it is taken care of by Sri Lanka. Thank you.
So we have time just for one very quick question, and we had a gentleman already there. Yes.
මම සිසිර කණ්ණංකර දෙන්නනාලිකාවෙන් යම්කිසි ආකාරයකට මගේ ප්‍රශ්නයට පිළිතුරක් ඔබතුමියගෙන් ලැබුණා. මගේ ප්‍රශ්නය වුණේ යම්කිසි ආකාරයකින් රෝගී තත්ත්වෙන් පසුන සංචාරකයෙක් හඳුනා ගත්තොත් ඔවුන්ව විශේෂිත ප්‍රතිකාර මධ්‍යස්ථාන කරා යොමු කරනවාද? එසේ මේ සඳහා යන වියදම රජය විසින් දරනවාද නැතිනම් අදාළ සංචාරකයා විසින් දැරිය යුතුද යන්න?
ඇත්තටම වෙන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. දැන් කොවිඩ් ටෙස්ට් එකක් දැන් චෙක් ඉන් ඉස්සලා කරනවා. එතකොට එයාට කියමුකෝ පොසිටිව් වුණා කියලා. පොසිටිව් වුණාම හැම හෝටලයකම සේෆ් ඇන්ඩ් සියර් හෝටලයකටම තියෙන්න ඕනේ ડોක්ටර් කෙනෙක් සම්බන්ධ කරගෙන. ඒ කියන්නේ ડોක්ටර් හැමදාම එතන ඉඳගෙන ඉන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ડોක්ටර් කෙනෙක් සම්බන්ධ කරලා තියෙනවනේ සේෆ් ඇන්ඩ් සියර් හෝටලයක. ඒක අවශ්‍ය දෙයක්. එතකොට ඒ දොස්තරයි ඒරියා මෙඩිකල් ඔෆිසරයි එයා දිහා එයාව බලනවා මෙයා සිම්ප්ටම්ස් තියෙන එක්කෙනෙක්ද නැත්නම් සිම්ප්ටම්ස් නැති එක්කෙනෙක්ද. හරිද? සිම්ප්ටම්ස් නැති non symptomatic කියලා කිව්වොත් non symptomatic ඒ කියන්නේ සිම්ප්ටම්ස් නැහැ, උණක් නැහැ, කැස්සක් නැහැ, ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි එයා පොසිටිව්. එතකොට එයාව තියනවා අපි දැන් නීති ගයිඩ්ලයින්ස් දාලා තියෙන හැටියට එයා ඉන්නේ හෝටලේම. හෝටලයකට 175ක් විතරයි බුකින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. රූම්ස් 100ක් තියෙනවා නම් 75 විතරයි බුකින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. 125ක් තියන්න ඕනේ ෆ්‍රී. මේ වගේ දේවල් වලට මෙයා කරන්න. හරි? එතකොට එයාව මේ දොස්තරලා දෙන්නම් බල්ලා කිව්වොත් නෑ මෙයා සිම්ප්ටොමැටික් නෑ මෙයාට ඉන්න පුළුවන් මේ හොටෙල් එකේ. එතකොට එයා අයිසොලේෂන් එකේ හොටෙල් එකේ ඉන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ එයාට පූල් එක ජිම් එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ. එයා කාමරේම ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි කියමුකෝ එයා සිම්ප්ටොමැටික් ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. උණ කැස්ස ඉස්පිරිතාලේ යන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට ඒ තීරණය ගන්න ඒ දොස්තර දෙන්න. එතකොට ඒ වෙලාවට තමයි මේ ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එක එන්නේ. ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකෙන් තමයි ඔක්කොම ගෙවන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ. ඒව ප්‍රයිවට් හොස්පිටල්ස් වලට ඒ කියන්නේ ඔතොරිටි දෙනකොට ඒගොල්ලන් ප්‍රයිවට් හොස්පිටල් එකට යනවා. තවත් අවස්ථාවක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් එයාට කොවිඩ් නෙමෙයි තව ලෙඩක් හැදෙනවා. හිතමුකෝ heart attack හරි මොනවා හරි තව දෙයක් එනවා. එතකොට එයාට තියෙනවනේ ගෙස්ට් තියෙනවනේ මේ ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකක් ඒගොල්ලන් එනකොට මෙඩිකල් ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකක්. ඒකෙන් තමයි ඒක ගෙවලා ඒගොල්ලන් යන්නේ ප්‍රයිවට් හොස්පිටල් එකකට. පයිලට් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකේ ඇත්තටම මුනේ ඒක KDU එකට තමයි ගියේ පයිලට් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකේ. හරිද? දැන් මේක KDU එකට අපිට බරක් කරගෙන හැම වෙලේම එහෙම කරන්න බැරි නිසා අපි ප්‍රයිවට් හොස්පිටල්ස් වලට තමයි යන්නේ ඉන්නේ.
That's all the time we have for questions right now, but of course our officials from the various stakeholders, representing the various stakeholders will be around, so you can feel free to approach them during lunchtime. We'd like to thank our officials on stage. Please stay on for just a couple of minutes because the media would like to take a picture of our dignitaries here. Meanwhile, for the photographers who would like to utilize this photo opportunity, we'd like to request you to place yourselves in position in front of the stage. We'd also like to invite Mr. Hiran Kure to join us on stage as the chairman of the Tourism Advisory Committee for this group photograph with our officials. And while our officials ready themselves for the group photograph, ladies and gentlemen, with that we trust that today we've been able to provide you with comprehensive information on how Sri Lanka tourism is ready to welcome international travelers to our shores yet again. With your support, we look forward to extending our warm hospitality across the globe as Sri Lanka's borders open for tourism today. On that note, we draw this morning's proceedings to a close. We invite you all to please join us for lunch. Thank you for being with us here, and we wish you a wonderful week ahead. Ayubowan.
Sri Lanka is ambitious, fun, fierce, fabulous, free-spirited, breathtaking, connecting, soaring, winning. Sri Lanka is fearless, curious, full of action, passion, fusion, fashion, vision. She means business, she is determination, timeless, full of kindness, luxurious, magical. Sri Lanka is art, Sri Lanka is craft, Sri Lanka is heart, Sri Lanka is a feeling. She's healing, a love story, a lifetime story, a brand new story. Earth's favorite island is ready for you. So wild, so pure, so vibrant, so natural, so majestic. So Sri Lanka.
When you can go from sun-kissed to mountain mist in just 4 hours, that's so Sri Lanka.
When dolphins and whales swim around you all year so you can visit them at any time, that's so Sri Lanka.
When a bicycle ride in the countryside is one long roadside party of board games, quirky friends, and the world's best cup of tea, that is so Sri Lanka.
When every sunset is an aphrodisiac and the nights command you to dance them away, that's so Sri Lanka.
When you can marvel at elephants in the morning
and then meet some exotic birds, bears and leopards for lunch,
that's so Sri Lanka.
When you can get an eye full of paradise and a heart full of adrenaline in a single afternoon,
that's so Sri Lanka.
When people brave dizzying heights to taste a buzz of fresh, warm toddy.
That's so Sri Lanka.
When feasting together makes you family, so we take every opportunity to indulge. That's so Sri Lanka.
When time slows down and urges you to as well.
So you can soak up the full magic of cultural treasures at every turn.
Storied street food made with love for 3 millennia.
360 degrees of ocean.
365 days a year.
Hugging lush forests, misty meadows, secret waterfalls, and ordinary Wednesdays. That is so Sri Lanka. When you surrender to every minute,
becoming your new favorite memory
on Earth's favorite island.
So wild,
so pristine,
so scenic,
so thrilling,
so spiritual,
so bold,
so colorful. That's so Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka is ambitious, fun, fierce, fabulous, free-spirited, breathtaking, connecting, soaring, winning. Sri Lanka is fearless, curious, full of action, passion, fusion, fashion, vision. She means business, she is determination, timeless, full of kindness, luxurious, magical. Sri Lanka is art, Sri Lanka is craft, Sri Lanka is heart, Sri Lanka is a feeling. She's healing, a love story, a lifetime story, a brand new story. Earth's favorite island is ready for you. So wild, so pure, so vibrant, so natural, so majestic. So Sri Lanka.